Before we get into the latest Ohio State football report, I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. Major sub growth over the last week or so. Appreciate that very much. If you haven't already subbed and you want more Ohio State football videos, do it. Free, simple, easy to do. Hit that sub button right now. We begin with a coaching development. Brian Hartline, the Ohio State co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach, only a recruiter extraordinaire, has interviewed for the West Virginia head coaching job, according to 24/7 Sports. Here's what they wrote. I believe it's pronounced ear sports, as in like mountaineer. That's kind of a weird name, but I digress. Can confirm that Ohio State OC wide receiver coach Brian Hartline has been interviewed for the head coaching vacancy at West Virginia. If this search is truly nearing its conclusion, and also, as all signs point to, then Hartline has to be taken seriously as a candidate. This would be a significant loss for Ohio State. Hartline does the job he's asked pretty well in most cases. He does a great job recruiting, even in the new NIL era. He's not the OC, that's clearly Chip Kelly, and Ryan Day has more influence than Hartline does, obviously. But he's a good receivers coach. The track record of success, I think, very clearly speaks for itself. I don't know how great the 03 OC went, but how much that was his fault, who's to say. He's only coached at Ohio State, which certainly should be mentioned here. Was a quality control coach back in 2017, receivers coach for 5-ish years, and then has OC and co-OC duties attached to him in more recent years. I don't think that means he's the favorite, though, at West Virginia. Among the notable confirmed West Virginia interviews, there's obviously Brian Hartline, Jeff Monken, who I think gets interviewed for like every single like low-end Power 4 job. Feels like that's the case. Anthony Becht, the former West Virginia player, the current UFL Battlehawks head coach, also interviewed for the job. And if we believe the blogs and the insider rumors and message boards, Rich Rod as maybe the favorite to make his return home to West Virginia. The current Jacksonville State head coach has had some good success there. I think would certainly make some more sense than Hartline, but he interviewed. We know that. He's apparently a real candidate. Cannot overlook that as a possibility. So I want you to be honest with me here. What is your concern level over losing Brian Hartline? 1 to 10 is your scale. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. 10 being you're freaking out. You'll never be able to replace him. He's gone for sure. 1 being either he's just not going to leave, no chance of it, or you can find someone to replace him pretty easily. Go drop your number at the pinned comment of today's show, which that ad comes here on YouTube. Let's talk transfer portal because we're in the midst of college football free agency. In what I do think is a surprise, Tacario Davis, the Arizona corner, has hit the college football transfer portal today. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on just like straight up, I will go get this guy, I go get that guy. Because you're Ohio State. There really aren't that many guys that I think are like big names that you need to go get because you got a lot of talent already. But in this particular case, even if you don't view corner as a need, go get him. I thought he'd enter the NFL draft, frankly. He had first-round buzz going into this year. You are Ohio State, and if this comes off as arrogant, I apologize, but I do think it's accurate. You're Ohio State. The best players who go in the portal, unless you're set at like a spot like quarterback that has one guy, you go get them. Quinshaw Junkins at the portal, you went and got him. Maybe behind the scenes doing whatever. You are Ohio State. You go get the best corner in the transfer portal, and you plug him in as a starter. Now, you have to go do it. To try. I think this is too good of a player to not consider going after. He's got fantastic size. He's 6'4", almost 200 pounds. He's not a huge interception guy, but he's been a number 1 corner for 2 years in a row at Arizona. I assume Washington's going to have a lot of interest here. I will say this part, too. Davis wasn't as good this year. He was awesome in 2023. A sub 43% completion rate, 290 yards on 54 targets. His targets went down this year, 50 targets. No touchdowns allowed. That's good. A little bit higher on the yards. Didn't have as many plays on the football either. I will say, the overall decline in play from Arizona, from everyone really not named Ted McMillan, I think it's probably more of a coaching thing than anything else. I think Jim Knowles would have some great success with Davis in the fold. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. They've got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to only show you the very best deals, the incredible deals on great seats. So don't waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It's curation. designed to save you more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and everything else in between. Could be an NFL game, could be the Ohio State-Tennessee matchup. Whatever it is, Game Time has you covered. The Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Dillon Thieneman is in the portal, and he has told 24/7 Sports he will visit Ohio State within the next week or so, which is a significant deal for Ohio State to add a potentially instant starter at safety to pair with Caleb Downs. That's super intriguing to me. The teams in the mix, well, maybe the dad said too, maybe it's always worth mentioning since dads handle it sometimes, which actually I don't always think that has to be a bad thing. Let's phrase it that way. Ohio State, Oregon are both going to get visits. Seems noteworthy. Other schools that could be in the mix here are Texas, Penn State, Georgia, LSU. Good schools. Good football teams in really every case, even with LSU coming off a down season there. They didn't even have a very strong 2023 campaign, had a good 2024 campaign. You allow 23 catches, but they only go for 136 yards. That means it's all like short stuff, in the box stuff. That's not a big issue at all. He can make some plays on the football, will break up passes. He's got ability. He's got plenty of ability. This would be a fantastic get for Ohio State if they can beat out some of the other premier college football programs to land him. So maybe there's other names you have in mind in the portal you'd like to see Ohio State go get. Plenty of offensive line targets, I know, because that's a need. That makes sense to go pursue those guys. Name a player who you want Ohio State to get in the transfer portal. Go vote in the comments right now. We're going to wrap up today's show with this because it's too outlandish to not even mention. Ohio State rep, as in not Ohio State University, but State of Ohio Representative Joshua Williams, has introduced a bill into the state legislature that would make flag planting a felony. Yes, a felony for planting a flag on a football field. Now, of note, this would only apply to flags being planted at Ohio State. If my alma mater, Miami, wants to beat the crap out of Ohio and go plant their flag, not a felony. Only counts for Ohio State. The whole thing is stupid. It is just ridiculously asinine that this is what your state reps are doing. This is the type of stuff, when I say don't put politics in sports, it's this crap. This is a waste of time. It is a waste of taxpayer dollars. There is zero reason why at any level of the government there needs to be any influence whatsoever. Government does not need to be involved in this. Not needed. He should be embarrassed. Representative Williams should be embarrassed that he has spent so much time on what very clearly is just a stunt. It is not a real proposal that he actually wants to pass. It's just to get his name in the headlines. I bet he's got a re-election coming up soon. Next year, whenever. It's not going to be voted on this session because there's not enough time because they're about to go on holiday break. And means that's to get reintroduced next time, and I doubt it gets reintroduced. He got ratioed likes of which I have not seen very often on social media. Not just by rival fans, but Ohio State fans too. We all know this is stupid. He's making Ohio State fans look bad, and that's pretty embarrassing. Now, I want to mention this part. He is from Sylvania Township, is where he represents. That is in the Toledo area. Now, if you don't know much about Toledo, it's the city that two states once went to war over, Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio, Michigan. They do not tell us who won. Given that Toledo is in Ohio, seems like Michigan won the battle, Ohio lost. But there's a pretty even split between Michigan and Ohio State fans in Toledo because they're pretty close. You're right on the border. I don't think we can rule out, because I can't find who he cheers for. I don't think we can rule out this being a Michigan false flag operation. That he's a Michigan fan, and he knows this is going to look bad on Ohio State, and he's just doing it to be funny and to troll Ohio State. I don't think we can rule that out. And frankly, I might find that more credible than an Ohio State fan actually thinks this is a good idea.